Welcome back to another Stathead tutorial. Today we're looking at the newest tool to join the Stathead Basketball set of tools, and that's the College Player Game Finder. You may be familiar with the pro basketball version of this tool, which has stats from the NBA, the WNBA, and the ABA. This is the same thing, but for college. You can use the College Player Game Finder to search for men's and women's Division I stats from College Basketball Reference. Our game logs that you'll be searching through are complete back to 2003 for women and 2010 for men. However, for the men, we also have March Madness stats that go all the way back to 1939. So let's look at what the Player Game Finder can do. We'll start with an easy one. Who had the most points in a men's NCAA tournament game as a freshman? When you get to the Player Game Finder on desktop, you'll see the results in the middle, a menu of search types on top, and an array of filters along the side. On mobile, all of these are stacked for easier use on your phone. For this search, we'll want to concentrate on the filters along the side in order to set up our question, who had the most points in a men's NCAA tournament game as a freshman? First, we could narrow using filters for player, time frame, game type, or teams and conferences. In this case, we're looking for all of March Madness history, so the only one of these filters we need is game type. We'll select NCAA tournament, and when I do that, you can see a drop-down of new options has appeared. When you select March Madness, you can search by round or seed, and we don't need that for this search, but if we wanted to limit our search to just the final 4 games, or just look for 13 seeds, we could totally do that. Here, we'll just select NCAA tournament and move on to our next filters. Below this top set of filters, there are drop-down menus that have even more for you to narrow your search parameters. These are split into 4 types. Statistical filters include every game level stat on College Basketball Reference. Points, assists, rebounds. If it's in a box score, we've got it, as well as advanced stats like game score and box plus minus. Next, player filters let you sort through biographical information about the players, so you can look for position, class, season awards, and more. Team and opponent filters let you filter for teams that they played on or against. We saw above that you can select a specific team or conference, but with these filters, you can search by how the team performed that season. Do you want stats in games against teams that won the title, or players on teams that missed March Madness entirely? This is where you can find options like that. Lastly, game filters have information about the games themselves, home or road, win or loss, more stuff like that. So for this case, we'll want to go to the player filters and search for freshmen. So now our search is set up, double check that we're sorting by points, and we'll click Get Results. In just a moment, we can see who had the most points in a March Madness game as a freshman. So that's a good intro level search to what you can do in the Player Game Finder on Stathead, but let's dive a little deeper to see what this tool can really do. Everyone knows about Caitlin Clark's remarkable work as both a scorer and a passer in her college career. How many 30-point, 10-assist games did she have? Was it the most in our database? To find the answer, we'll turn back to the College Player Game Finder. In order to do this search, we'll need to switch to the women's database. We'll also need to turn on a couple of statistical filters, 30 points and 10 assists. But most importantly, we'll need to change the search type. Remember that menu up top? That menu lets you choose what kind of search you want to run. Essentially, you're picking what kind of question you're answering. By default, it shows a list of every game in whatever order we choose, which is what you saw in the first example, the most points in a March Madness game. That was a list of every single March Madness game by every single player in our database sorted by points. But that's not the only way to use this tool. You could search for combined stats from a single season or multiple years. That's all the games that match your filter in the single season or multiple years. You could search for the number of games a player had that match your search parameters. Hang on to that one because we'll be coming back to it in a second. And you can even search for the number of matching games by every player on a specific team or in a specific season to see, say, what season had the most players with a 30-point 10-assist game, or what team had the most 30-point 10-assist games by all its players. In this case, though, we're looking for the player who had the most 30 and 10 games. So we want most games matching criteria. And we want the option for combining multiple years instead of the one that would count each season separately, since we are looking at career totals here. So now that we have the search completely set up, we just click get results, and there we go. The answer is there for us in seconds. So these are just 2 examples, but we are truly just scratching the surface of all the stuff that you can do with this exciting new tool. There are millions and millions of questions that you can answer in the College Player Game Finder, so go ahead and get searching.